Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Aesthetic Edge, the podcast where we go behind the scenes with med spa founders, operators, and aesthetic professionals who are shaping the future of the industry. I am your host, Bethany Gifford, founder of New Era Intel, your guide to all things growth, systems, and the new wave of aesthetics. Today, we have a special guest that has expanded his empire over 62 plus locations. But first, a word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by New Era Intel. At New Era Intel, we help medical spas, dermatology clinics, and plastic surgery practices who are struggling with inconsistent patient retention, underutilized CRM systems, and manual systems that hold back your clinic's growth potential so they can finally increase quality repeat bookings, streamline operations with AI automation, and grow predictable monthly revenue with the right systems and strategy. They're able to create a premium, seamless patient experience while freeing up their team to focus on what they do best. If you would like to take your business to the next level, head over to neweraintel.com to get started.
Today's guest is someone who didn't just build a successful med spa, he built a nationwide brand. Joe Stanoszek is the founder of VIO Med Spa, one of the fastest growing names in medical aesthetics, with over 62 locations and more on the way. What started 12 years ago in the back of a tanning salon has become a force in the industry, blending result-driven treatment with modern lifestyle-first approach to care. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, let's rewind to the beginning because I know people are going to have questions. You launched VIO in the back of a tanning salon. No roadmap, just gut instinct. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, actually, it started a lot earlier than that. So I actually started, well, my first business was dry cleaning, which some do know and some don't know. But I started in dry cleaning, and that was taught me a lot about business in general and like bootstrapping and taking risk and things like that, which most business owners know, and whether you're in the med spa business or in any other business. And the guy who I first bought my equipment from did me dirty, so to speak, and learned that, like when your back's up against the wall, you just figure out what you got to do to make the business work, right? So from there, I went to, I got into tanning salons, and from there, I opened up the 3 locations, grew those pretty quick. And then one of my customers came to me and wanted to open a laser hair removal spot. So I was like, all right, what do I have to lose? So I called a buddy of mine. He was in the industry, and he told me all about laser hair removal. And he's like, I'm like, bottom line, like, I don't need any gray area. I just, can I make money in this or can I not? Right. So he's like, Joe, yeah, you'll kill it. Don't worry about it. So I didn't know anything about the business. So the next day, I reached out to some contractors, and I didn't want to take the risk on opening another location, taking another, rent obligation out or anything like that, because if it didn't work, then I was just out on the money and the equipment, right? So I took out some equipment at my tanning salon, busted out the back wall. I happen to know the landlord, so it worked out for me. Uh, we worked at night building construction. But before that, 3 days after the lady came in, one of my customers, to open the laser spa, she came to me and was like, "What do you think about the idea?" And I was like, I already started. I already started construction, And my landlord's like, Joe, just work in the middle of the night, just get it done. And, if there's any questions, we'll just, we'll talk to who we have to. We'll beg for forgiveness. So that's what we did. And we grew it from there. And she got out of the business not too long after, maybe a year after that. And there were some issues with that. No big deal. And then grew from one location. And then I met Ryan Rayao and his team, which was Apex Franchise Development Group, and they helped me curate it into a franchise. From so we did all the paperwork, and while we were creating the business, we realized that we needed to own the trademark for the name. But at that time, the name was called Skin Deep Laser Spa. So we're like, shoot, now we got to go with a new name. So what are we going to do? Right? So what we did was we were actually in this exact room that we're in today, that I'm talking to you. And we threw up names left and right every Friday for a couple hours, New names, new names, new names. Came up with 3 names. Don't ask me what they were because I have no idea. I can't remember what it was. And I hated them all. So we're down to the final line. It was in November of 2018, I think it was. And my brother was like, "So what is it going to be?" I'm like, "Nick, I hate all these names. I don't need the pressure right now. I got to come up with a name by tomorrow, and I don't like any of these names." So I was at a restaurant in Cleveland called Town Hall, and drinking bone broth. And on the lid, it said Viora and VIO, VIO Med Spa. Yeah, that sounds great. I like that. So I messaged
Perfect.
everybody, and they're like, "What do you think about VIO?" And then, "The hell is VIO?" I'm like, "I don't care. Do you like it or do you not? Yes
You're
or
like,
no?"
it's
Like,
catchy.
yeah, I love it. Perfect. So, but the funny thing is because I hear it nonstop in this industry, and everyone's VO, vascular occlusion. No, it's not vascular occlusion. Hey, I'm not I'm not that dumb to name it something vascular occlusion in this industry. And everybody wants to rag on it. You know what? If you have a problem with the name, just come to me. I'll explain to you what it's about. We would never do something malicious like that. And that's what I think is kind of funny has how people just go right for the name because they want to like hate on something. Just there's no reason to hate. We're all a part of a team and everyone's in this industry together. And that's one of the biggest things the funniest things I laugh about in this industry.
Absolutely. I know people can get hung up on the wrong things, right?
And it's like, come on. But
Well, I mean, you've expanded a lot, not just one or two places, but over 60 locations. Like,
yeah.
what were some of the early challenges, kind of the mindset shifts that helped you go from local to national?
So we before COVID, it was moving pretty slowly, right? But during COVID, everyone was on a Zoom, right? What did everyone realize? Oh my God, I'm looking at myself every day in this camera and I have all these wrinkles, right? I need work. So as soon as both, and everybody knows in this industry, so as soon as COVID hit, afterwards, med spas blew up. We were getting calls left and
Absolutely,
right,
they
left and
did.
right, left and right, wanting to open med spas. So, we grew pretty quick, and we got a lot of inquiries. The people that wanted to open med spas. So that was like the biggest push for us that made us explode.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, having to manage that many places, turning it into a franchise, you have your hand in some, but not all the operationals of every day. What kind of core values have guided your growth over the past
You
years?
know,
And that's
well, let's touch on the growth, right? So when you're choosing franchisees, it's hard, right? Because med aesthetics is a very, very intricate business, and there's a lot of moving parts. It's not like a normal franchise. So when your franchise is coming in, they're used to, you're a normal franchise where it's plug and play. Not in med spas. There's different rules in different states, and you have to abide by those rules and understand them. So in one state, you might be able to be a nurse and inject, while others you could be a nurse practitioner, or so in some states you have to be a nurse just to do facials. It's really odd, but we had to overcome all those things and teach those franchisees what these rules and these laws state by state. And it was very hard for them to digest that, but we overcame that, and it was just time, and that really was the only thing that helped us get over that hump, by yeah,
yeah, I wasn't aware that, every state had different. I know there's some states you have to be professionally licensed and things like that, but I didn't realize some states you had to be a nurse. That's wild.
yeah, in um Baltimore in Maryland, we ran into some issue where with the hydrofacial, the esthetician couldn't do it. So that you had to be a
Hmm.
nurse in order to do it. And that was the only bump in the road that we saw that we never foresaw happening. And it was very odd. And but like I said, every state has its own rules. So you
Yeah. Well,
gotta abide by
besides the
them.
rules and regulations, culture can get really diluted fast. How have you kind of kept your team connected to like VO's mission as you've grown so big?
Yeah, culture is huge for me. Anyone that knows me, knows that culture is absolutely huge for me. And it's in my personal life too, you know. I think it's important you treat everybody well, treat them like they're number one. And I try to instill that across the board, that culture, culture, culture. If you don't have culture within your business will fail. You have to treat everyone amazingly. You know what I mean? I mean, take them to dinner. You have to have team events. Get them to working as a team, because if they're not working as a team, there's gonna be drama, drama, drama all the time, and that's gonna take you away from the actual work that needs to be done. And you just gotta try to, if there's something that's slipping away, you gotta nip it in the bud right away, because if you don't, it's gonna cause more problems down the line, and things will start unraveling, 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 and by then it's gonna be too late to control.
Absolutely. I mean, you're a great leader, I'm sure, but you have to have leaders within each franchise. So when you're choosing leaders or operators or managers, like corporate team members, like what does that look like for you and how do you do that?
You know, so we can't choose who our franchisees hires or managers, but we could try to like teach them on who they should hire. So we're always trying to guide them, you know, try to find people who have been in this industry for a long time, have led people before, other managers from other locations or in similar industries, whether it's, you know, like a European wax center or things like that. But you know what? When it comes down to it, they really need they really need to have worked in a medical aesthetics industry in that capacity, because there's just so many moving parts. You have your injectors, you have your estheticians, your laser techs. There's so many moving parts, and they got to have practice with that. So unless they had don't, you know, we're running into that more and more, that they really need to have aesthetics experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, Kind of moving into like more scaling and operations, what was your actual moment where you said, I can scale this nationally?
COVID. It was
COVID was
COVID.
it?
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, you know, we got back from COVID, and the phones were ringing off the hook. And that's when I realized, I'm like, wow, okay, this is going to take off. This is pretty
Time to
cool.
grow
You know what
big.
I mean? I remember getting a call from my brother, and he's like, man, this is crazy. This is going to be something. Like, and then, you know, we were at a conference, like we go to AAFE, and I love going to AAFE conferences, because, you know, you see everyone year over year, and you know, I see my franchisees going there year after year, and it's just so cool that the first year that I went, I remember, I'll never forget this. It was like 2017 or 2018, and we went there. It was the five of us that went there, five, and now when we go, there's like 60 of us, and it's so cool to see that. And I'll never get, and I'm getting chills right now. When we got when we had our first conference, and I'm not a big public speaker, and I talk to anybody, but I'm not a big public speaker. But what I'll never forget, when I got on that stage and we had, you know, all of our franchisees out there, it was such a moment, because also then when I'm like, wow, this is actually something. We got something here. And to have all those people out there and investing in a company that you started in the back of your tanning salon, there's nothing that beats that moment. It's 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 surreal. It really is. And then, you know, we were brought out. We brought out private equity last year, and to see it, just our team growing internally, is it's definitely something.
That's amazing. How do you evaluate like when it's time to open a new location? Like what are your trigger points?
Well, it's not so much when it's time, it's like finding the right locations, and where our franchisees want to put them, right? So we have to find where the right location to put it for them is. And for us, that's usually in like what we call an A center, right? Somewhere with like there's a Whole Foods anchor, or someone that has art type of clientele there. So say someone wants to open in Charlotte, for example, and we would look at that area. If it's not in too close to any of the other locations there. We have two locations there. If it's not close to one of those, okay, now let's see what kind of centers are in that area. What's the driving traffic? So we look at that, all those kinds of things. As long as it's not going to pull from one of those locations, that's when we'll put one in that area.
That's great. Yeah, I know. We work with a lot of people that are always toying with the idea of branching out and creating new locations. And sometimes it's meant for them and sometimes it's not. So I know they're going to get a lot of value after that one.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend growing too fast until, your business is like fully operational, and you don't spread yourself too thin. I think that's the best advice I can give.
Absolutely.
If you grow too fast, then you're just gonna get. And the other thing is, like, when people spread open too fast, I see them opening on terms, and they get up, they call in their term agreements for, whether it's Allergan or Galderma, and when that bill hits, that's when businesses start falling apart. You know what I mean? Because they're like, "Oh, I got to rob Peter to pay Paul. What am I going to do?" You got to have an understanding of your finances and how to pay these things, and whether you're on an accrual basis or a cash basis, and you know, because that can break you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's invaluable information there. That's awesome. What kind of like KPIs or benchmarks are you watching really closely? Because you're talking about not growing too fast and making sure that you have all your ducks in a row. How does it keep like what are you watching that keeps the business healthy and kind of moving forward?
You know, how fast they're getting to the break even, right? And that breaks down to a bunch of different things. You have to look at how the leads, how we're performing with the leads, how fast they're getting, how fast we're responding to those leads. And, you know, if you're not hitting certain benchmarks by a certain time, then we start looking at things, right? Like I just said, if you're not responding to the leads, or how fast your injection business is growing, how many memberships you have. Memberships is a good gauge on how healthy your business is. Because if we have, 500 members or 300 members, if we get to 300 members, okay, we're getting close to break even at that point. Because at 300 members, we know how many people are coming in month after month, quarter after quarter, and we can rely on those and that money to be coming in. And if you're not hitting that 300 mark by 2 years, you got some problems, and we got to figure out what's going on. Actually, I would even say sooner than that, but 300 numbers is
Absolutely.
a good gauge.
Yeah, we're actually working with several med spas right now, and the number one problem is lead follow-up. That's why we really push a lot of like automation. We have a lot of
Yeah,
systems that we're
the
putting in
thing is,
place, and
with lead generate, I don't want to cut you off here, but every I hear this all the time with even the VIO, the locations that I have, and I love the girls; they're all great. But I always hear them say it. Oh, we're following up on leads. We're following up on leads. We're following up on leads. No, you're not. No, you're not. I see that you're not. Don't tell me you are. I mean, don't lie to me. I'm going to see it, right? But it's okay. Just tell me, like, because if you don't, and if you're just copy and pasting, then that's going to get you messed up too, because that might not be what the person's asking for. And I see that a lot too with other med spas. They're just copying and pasting, and they may be talking to Mary, and they replace copy and paste something by accident too fast, and it's to John. You know what I mean? And that I see that happen so much, and people get pissed off about that. You got to have a gauge on who you're responding to, and you can't simply copy and paste. That's a big mistake. You got to make it
absolutely.
personal, because if we don't make it personal, those people are going to read right through it. And these AI responding things too that I keep saying, some are good, some are bad, and I don't always agree with them. I think it's
Yeah,
the personal touch adds a huge
yeah. We're
you know
really big believers in 80% automated and 20% HI, which is human interaction.
yeah,
You cannot turn a computer program on and walk away. It is
yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. And fortunately, we're seeing a lot of results in our industry right now with having that human touch and the ability to be able to help and come in and grow companies with the human presence.
yeah.
I think it's you guys are in the people business, you're not in the automated business, you're in the
No,
people business. So you got to keep
yeah,
it
this was collecting
fresh.
debt, or booking for an auto parts thing. Fine, AI is fine, but this is people's faces that you're messing with. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, speaking a little bit about like new technology and services, when do you decide to kind of like add something new into your business as far as like trends or the wellness,
Yeah.
trend that's going on these days?
So, I get hit up nonstop from people. Oh, do you want to bring this on? Do you want to bring this on? You want to bring this on? Even if I wanted to say yes, I can't. We have a committee that we bring it to, and we figure out if it's a good fit for the company. We'll test it out in a few locations in different areas in the country. We'll figure out if is it going to be a good fit for us? If it's then we we figured if yes or no. And if it is, then we'll bring it on. But it's got to make enough sense with the cost of what it's going to bring on for each location. And is it too much capital for that franchisee? And is it going to bring enough money in? And there's a lot of different things that it's got to check off before we bring that into us. Wellness is one thing that we're really focusing on right now too. And that is there's a lot of margins in those without having to bring on too much capital costs. So wellness is a huge push we're pushing on right now. And I see
Yeah.
it as a huge shift in the industry as well. But I think wellness right now is where Botox was in 2013. That's where I see it. And it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah. People are really wanting to go back to their natural roots and natural looks and getting healthy and getting on that trend. So I see that going very well in the industry right now, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, let's talk a little about marketing, because people are going to know what worked for you in the early days, to get your first clients
Oh,
and what's happening
this is one of
now.
my favorite. Me and my brother butt heads on this all the time because I was the one that was on the boots, on the ground, doing all the work, right? So what I would do is this, and I still think this is a great thing, and I haven't done this for a long time. And I was thinking about this the other day. I kind of want to just go back out there and start doing this again because I love doing it. If you're at a bar, at a restaurant, whatever, you have a group of like a stack of cards with you for a free facial or a free syringe. You're gonna get the free syringe from your rep anyway, so who cares, right? So I would get a free hydrofacial coupon or something like that, something unique where they can't be copied or whatever. Go out to a bar or restaurant with some of the girls that work at the spa or guys, whatever, and just have a happy hour, right? Start talking to people. You're like, yeah, you know what? Why don't you come in? I'm going to give you a free syringe. That is going to go so far. I'm telling you, because people talk about two things. They never talk about things that they pay for. Never talk about it. You're lucky if you get a review, but if you get something for free, oh, they're telling the whole world. The whole world, they're telling. And they'll talk about a bad review, right? That's the only time they'll tell people things. So if you go and give something for free, the chances are they're going to tell 3 to 4 of their friends and they're going to come in. And as long as they have a good experience, they're going to become customers. And what does that cost you? What does that cost you? What does that hydrofacial cost you? 30, 40 bucks? Who cares? What is that syringe
Yeah,
going to cost you? Nothing, because you're going to get it from your rep. Your rep's going to give it to you. Why? Because your rep wants more business. It's simple. That's all you have to do. That's why they're giving you those free syringes. They're for marketing. Use them for marketing and for promotions. Use that to your advantage because those will bring in endless amount of customers. That's how
that's
I did it in
gold.
the beginning. I mean, I was getting, like it was like Halloween. Like I was like Oprah. Seriously, you get a syringe, you get a syringe, you get a syringe. I was getting it everywhere. Everyone was getting a syringe.
I wish someone would come up to me in a bar and hand
watching
me a
me all the
syringe.
time about this
That'd be
now.
great.
He's like, "John, we can't do that. We can't do that." I'm like, all right, Nick, it works. I'm telling you, it works. It works. Always works.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, now that it's grown extremely nationally, how has your client acquisition strategy evolved since the beginning, early days?
Be more specific.
Like how do you obtain the client? And then how are you guys keeping the client?
Well, we
I
have
know you had
but
mentioned memberships, but
yeah, so we have our memberships. Our membership plan is we have two different memberships. We have the renew and the restore. The restore is almost like picture of like an HSA, right? So $100 goes in your account every month. You pay $100 a month. We don't ever take that money. It's there when you want to use it. So let's say 4 months go by, you have $400 in your account. Well, now you come get a syringe. It's like girl math. You know what? It's girl math. It's exactly what it is. So 4 months go by, you have $400, right? Now you come to get your Botox done. Oh, my Botox is 450 bucks. Oh, you know what? I have $50 in Allergan. I told my husband that I was coming here to get my Botox done, but you know what? He thinks I'm going to spend 500 bucks. He forgets about the $100 I keep spending every month. So now I'm going to get a syringe. You know what? Now that sale turned into a $1,000 sale. You know, it's how you pitch it. You just got to sell it. And I always pitch it as girl math because that's how girls kind of comprehend things. It's great. And it's no offense to you ladies, but that's the way you explain it to your husbands. or your
Yeah,
boyfriend,
it's
whatever.
actually true.
Nobody's paying for it.
That's
Sorry, guys. I
awesome.
got a lot of wrinkles here too. I got my Botox actually done today. So,
You're good. You're good. So looking ahead a little bit, for someone listening to think about wanting to open their very first med spa,
mhm,
what's one piece of advice that you wish you had given them or gotten in the beginning that you could give them now?
do more research. Definitely
Mm,
do more research. Um, and make sure the b- you can't go back in time. So once you start turning the wheels on actually opening a med spa, make sure you have a great injector locked down. An injector is the hardest thing to find. Even today, I'm having trouble. I have one at a location in Charlotte, and I'm trying to find a good injector there, and it's just the market there for them is just not great because there's a lot of new injectors, which is great, and they'll learn down the line. But for right now, I need an A injector, a lead injector there, and it's very difficult. So wherever you are, just make sure you get a great injector, give them a signing bonus, whatever it is, you need to lock down that injector. Do not open a med spa until you lock down an injector, okay? And make sure you have all your costs nailed down because opening a med spa is a lot more expensive than just let's call it five, six, $700,000 that it's going to cost to open. You need to think about the operating costs and the length of time it's going to take to build your business. Okay, that ramp is a lot longer than what most people think, and it's getting longer more and more that more and more med spas open. So you really got to take into consideration that okay, maybe I need about 40. Let's just gauge 40, $50,000 in working capital per month until I get ramped up. So just say to be safe, have about $400,000 to $500,000 of working capital available, whether it's from marketing, payroll, rent, whatever that is, you need to have enough. People do not have enough working capital set aside when they open. Bottom line, I see it happen time and time again. No matter how many times you tell people that they need to have working capital set aside, they don't do it. And that is the number one thing you need to do.
that's great
That's why
advice.
that's why a lot of med spas fail.
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of our clients, they just don't have enough money.
Yeah.
So they're out
You
there
know,
taking loans and doing all
right.
the things, and they've
Well, the thing
opened
is,
already and not realized.
yeah, I don't want to interrupt you, but the other thing is too is I want to stress this, and I a lot of people might disagree with me on this, but a lot of times you see people that want to open med spas, they're usually your injectors, all right. And you know what? Don't hold back from them letting them do that. They see the money coming in, and they understand like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be paying myself and whatever. Don't be mad at your injectors for wanting to open their own med spas. Let them go. Let them go. Let them live their dream and what they want to do. You can't hold someone back from their dream because they're not going to be happy where they are. Your injector will never be happy if they want to leave and you're not letting them. Just let them go. That's the best advice I can give. I had this employee of mine, well, I have two just leave. One from this location, great friend of mine. She went to open her own med spa, and she was a trainer for us too. And it was hard to see her go, but you can't hold people back. You just can't hold people back. And another one of my employees, she's actually worked for me since she was 17 years old. And I'll never forget
Wow.
when she walked in my tanning salon wanting to work for me, telling me that I needed to hire her. I was like, all right, Andrea, I'll hire you, you know? And she called me back years later after she became a nurse. She goes, I'm going to work for you again one day. I'm like, I'll hire you whenever you're ready. So she did. She came back and worked for me. And the time was right for her to moving up her own. So she just left, and I just saw her today. She actually did my Botox. But you can't
That's
hold people
amazing.
back. You can't hold people back because if you do, it's going to cause it's going to cause more drama within the workplace and unhappiness, and you don't want that. Just let them go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Full circle. That's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
You
It's really
must be
cool.
really proud.
It gives me chills. And I love her to death. I went to dinner with her and her husband the other day, and it's so good to see like watching her from 17 years old going to open her own med spa. It's cool.
It's like fly, baby bird.
Yeah, I trained you up, so it's
That's
nice.
awesome. Well, that's like a lot of really good beginning advice, and also kind of long-term advice, once people are ready to up and go. Within the first 5 years of your journey, is there something that you would have done totally different?
Um, the first 5 years.
And I ask that because a lot of med spas fail after 5 years. It's usually the benchmark
Yeah.
where they're not able to grow
You know,
or
the thing
they
is
shut
too
their
is like,
doors.
and I'm gonna be honest, I got caught up in the terms, you know, issues because when you're growing, you don't have like I'm not like this is why me and my brother are so good. We work so well together, is because Nick is very, very good with finances. And when I say that, he's good at like making sure like everything is automated with the bills and everything like that. I'm better at marketing, right? And when we first started, you know, I did terms and it was very hard. So I would get these bills and I'm like, oh shit. And I have this, you know, $80,000 bill for Allergan. What am I gonna do? But it all works itself. I think luckily it all worked out for me, but for some it doesn't, and they don't know how to figure that out. There's been times where when I was starting my business, and like I said, I would get the $8,000 bill. My dad would call me, he's like, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" My back's against the wall. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. And I always did, luckily. But I was always the last one to get paid. And sometimes people forget that like your employees are the most important people. So you gotta make sure that you pay them first. And some people say make sure you gotta pay yourself first. You're wrong. You never pay yourself until the business is fully operational and you can then pull a profit. Don't ever pay yourself first. The business comes first. Your employees comes first. That's the most important. So that's the best advice I can give. Like I never did
Yeah,
that, but I wouldn't hope someone else wouldn't do that. I see a lot of people paying themselves first and they fail because of that.
that's great advice. I love that. I love that. So the next 6 to 12 months, what's next for VO? Anything exciting on the pipeline?
Yeah. We're working on some things internally, which I'm hoping we'll get to announce here soon. We're building an internal team that's absolutely amazing. From the C-suite to, just our internal corporate team. We're just building out, we had, I think it was like eight corporate people like this time last year, and now we've almost tripled that. I mean, it's wild. Maybe we had 12. We had 12, and now like we're almost tripling that. So it's wild. It's so we have that. We have a lot more locations opening. We'll be up to I think 75 by the end of the year, something like that.
Wow,
So we have a lot more locations opening. So the next 5 years, close to 200, maybe just under that. So
that's amazing. Wow. You are growing and you're growing fast.
growing fast.
Gosh. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah, real
sharing your
quick,
journey and
I do want to
it's
give one
amazing.
shout out to Mark McKenna from Of Me. Mark was I don't know if you know Mark or not. Mark was a huge inspiration. Mark is actually one of the guys that helped me in this industry to get where I am. And it's funny to see where we both are now. And I want to give a big thanks to Mark for that, for helping get where I am.
That's awesome. Well, this has been not just impressive, but a complete masterclass in scaling with vision and staying rooted in what really matters. So thank you so much for sharing all your thoughts and
Thank you. I
vision.
appreciate it.
Please tell the audience where they can get a hold of you and find a VO Med Spa.
Yeah. You can find me on LinkedIn. That's the best way you get a hold of me. Or you can email my Gmail. my I'm not a big Microsoft Outlook person, so my email there is joe@vomedspa.com. But you could also email me at Joe Stanoszek, Stanoszek at Gmail. Easily get a hold of me there.
Awesome. Very cool. And for the listeners that want to find a VO Med Spa to go to, how do we get a hold of that?
VOmedspa.com. Just type in a final location.
Perfect.
And I'm always
Perfect.
available for people that want questions. If they're opening one or they have one open, I don't care. I'll help you. Like if you have any questions with marketing or anything like that, I'm happy to help you.
Awesome. Well, we love those that are able to share their knowledge and help other people along the way. That's what this whole podcast is about. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And for everybody listening, go to a VO Med Spa. and we'll talk to you on the next episode.